on the water, an adventure around this great brown land and beyond. We're going to have a look at vessels and watercraft, from manpower to wind power, and we'll even crank it up with horsepower. So strap on your life jacket and get set to get wet on the water. We're down at the Brighton Sea Baths with Terry O'Brien, who swam the English Channel in 15 hours and 50 minutes. What possesses a man to do something like that?
I got together with a couple of mates of mine, and a couple of them had already swum the English Channel, and I started swimming down the bay. I'm an ex-footballer runner and took up swimming, and they said you should have a go. So I had a go, and here I am.
What is the distance of the swim?
As the crow flies, it's 32 kilometres, but you swim a lot further than that. It started out beautiful, but it's funny that the tide changes every 6 hours. So I went through a couple of tide changes, and then they send in a tide from France back to England, and you're swimming. I was swimming on the spot for about 3 hours there, around about the 12-hour mark.
How much training and preparation did it require to be able to take on something like this?
Well, 18 months prior to the attempt, I swam 1,200 kilometres, and most of that was in the water down in Port Phillip Bay. But you know, say 25-30% was in a pool.
What water temperatures were you experiencing during the swim?
Okay, over there I was very lucky. It was around about 18 degrees Celsius, and I was used to swimming in 9 degrees for 2 hours on a Saturday morning here at Brighton Baths through the winter. So we're pretty lucky because we can go from our winter to their summer, and the main danger of failure is hypothermia.
Apart from the crew monitoring your hypothermia and monitoring your state during the course of the swim, what other measures are you taking to combat hypothermia?
Oh, look, it's all in the training. If you haven't done the training prior to going over there, well, you've got no show and you'll get pulled out. There was an American guy swam on the same day, and he didn't acclimatise properly, and as such he got pulled out after 9 hours. He just couldn't handle the cold.
Now, we noticed that you were putting grease or fat onto your body prior to the swim. Is that for insulative purposes, or what is the purpose of that?
Yes, it is. It helps protect your body and keeps the cold out. Probably lasts for 3 or 4 hours, but then it acts as a sort of a chafing ointment where your arms, your shoulders don't sort of chafe up. But yeah, and it's a mixture of lanolin and pig fat.
You also had an official observer on board. What is his role, and what is he actually looking for during the course of the swim?
Well, for a start, the swimmer's not allowed to touch the boat, and certainly not allowed to get out of the water. And he actually monitors your strokes per minute. And with my swim, I was swimming at 60 strokes per minute, and you know, he's helpful. Well, they're all helpful, but him in particular. I was swimming at 60 strokes per minute at the start of the swim, and I finished off stroking 60 per minute, and which was good, because normally you're wary and you know your stroke rate actually drops, but mine didn't. You're granted support swimmers, but you have to swim the first hour, and every hour thereafter you can have a support swimmer out there with you. And with my swim, which is around 16 hours, I had 2 support swimmers. One swam 4 lots of half an hour, and John swam 4 lots of an hour. So they were out there with me for six hours.
Now, we're having a look at some footage here. Who's the man in the flippers?
Oh, that's Terry McMaster. He got me into the sport, actually. He was the one that got me down, and we met the Bardol brothers, and that's how I got interested. He was fantastic, Terry, and actually he had flippers on because he's a bit slower than me, and the other guy that was swimming with John Haywood, he had an ankle strap on because he was so fast, so he was trying to slow down. And in theory, the support swimmer's supposed to swim alongside you, which is good for companionship. It's good to have someone out there, especially someone you know and someone you've trained with.
You're taking in a lot of mouthwash during the course of the swim. I'm pretty sure that's not just to be able to kiss fish with a ring of confidence on the breath.
You definitely need mouthwash, otherwise, you know, you have problems with your mouth and your breathing and all sorts of things. So.
What are the benefits of the mouthwash?
Well, the mouthwash neutralises the salt in your throat, because naturally you tend to swallow the salt water, and if you're out in swimming for 16 hours, of course, that's going to affect your whole your mouth and your throat and your stomach. So the mouthwash is essential.
Now, you're shoving bananas down and high protein drinks while treading water. Why don't you float?
Well, you can float, but it's whatever you're comfortable with. So I was comfortable with treading water. So.
Now, how often were you taking on these supplements?
Every half hour you have a feed of Powerade I used, and bananas, chocolate, anything that sort of helps you with your energy.
Unfortunately, you've finished the swim during the night. We've got no footage of you walking on the shores in France. What was the feeling like? What was the elation like?
It was just unbelievable, because the two support swimmers were there with me, and I started at 8:30 in the morning from Dover and got over to France the next morning, which was Monday morning at 12:30, and when it gets dark over there, it's pitch black. So, but you just want the swim to finish, so you're not worried about how dark it is or whatever, and you just want to get to land. And once you get there, it's euphoria sets in.
Terry, congratulations on the swim. What an achievement. Now, is it rude to ask how old you are?
No, not at all, Tim. I'm 51, so. It took me 50 years to leave Australia and go over to England, so I'd never been overseas before. So, in 50 years I swam the English Channel, so it was a bit of a buzz.
Terry O'Brien, congratulations, mate. The feeling, as you explained, was absolutely euphoric, and it's an amazing feat to decide that you want to do something like that. Congratulations again.
Thanks very much.
A bad day on the water is better than a good day at work. See you next week.